What's happening, y'all? This is Andrew from Mirror Music 99, back with another Grateful Dead reaction. I promised some months back that I was going to get into Bob Dylan a little bit more too. It's one of those guys that I know is a great musician, obviously, but I have um, not really dug into his catalog. I know all the famous songs, obviously, but I don't know much about the depths of the catalog. Then I know it's pretty extensive. Um, I found out as part of this Grateful Dead journey, though, that they did lots of crossover songs, like Dylan covered the Dead and the Dead covered Dylan a lot. Both the Dead is the Dead and the Dead is Jerry Garcia Band, etc., etc., etc. So, or not the Dead is Jerry, you know what I mean. Jerry Garcia is part of Jerry Garcia Band. So we're going to do one of those today. I think I did Tangled Up in Blue a few months back, but this is It's All Over Now, Baby Blue, which they played at the Avalon Ballroom in May of 1966. I don't think I've done a Dead reaction yet that goes this far back into their history. So um, I've heard that in their earlier years they were more bluegrassy, more psychedelic, um, and perhaps um, extended the songs a little less long. The time stamps on this show on archive.org seem to indicate that most of them are not short, but shorter-ish, as compared to the 20 and 30-minute versions that we get later on. So anyway, this is It's All Over Now, Baby Blue from the Avalon Ballroom, May 19th, 1966. Here we go. This is not a Dylan song that I know.
You must leave now, take
It's not from
what
the
you
title.
need. You think will last.
They're even doing Dylan's voice.
Whatever you wish to keep, you'd better grab it fast. He understands you're orphan with his gun.
This has a swing to it.
Like a fire in the sun. Look out, the saints are coming through.
Okay, I do know this. Yeah, I recognize it now.
And it's all over now, baby blue.
Is that a synthesizer in the background? It's making that weird sound. Or Hammond organ or something.
The highway is for gamblers, you better use this. Take what you have gathered from coincidence.
He's actually playing a tom on the drums? Or has he got like a
On your street
just a big drum that he's playing?
is drawing crazy patterns on your sheets. The sky too is moving over you, and it's all over now, baby blue.
This is a very drum forward version. The guitar is not nearly as forward in this mix as you usually hear in Dead songs, or I have usually heard in Dead songs.
All your seasick sailors, they are rowing home. Your empty-handed army is all going home.
I really like the raw edges around this too. It's great.
Who just walked out your door has taken all his blankets from your floor. The carpet too is moving under you, and it's all over now, baby blue.
Hip hop fans will appreciate this actually. We talk a lot on Mirror Music about the choruses and the hooks being really, really important for the execution of songs. And old school hip hop songs didn't have choruses in the same way we think of choruses now, like "I'm sorry, Miss Jackson," "Ooh, I'm for real." It doesn't have that kind of hook to it, or "Cash rules everything around me, cream, get the money," right? Like those are hooks, right? Those are, you'd think of them as choruses, like you'd think of the Beatles playing a chorus or the Stones playing a chorus, like more popish stuff having like a separate part of the song as a chorus. But old school hip hop songs tend to have like taglines. I guess that's what I call them. I don't know. There's probably a real name for them, but like taglines at the end of each verse that come back around to like a central motif. That's usually the title of the song. Um, and this song does the same thing. Um, coming back, going on different verse permutations, but coming back around to "It's All Over Now, Baby Blue" as like the last line of all the verses, right? Um, that's a poetic thing too that goes way back to like Sestinas and Villanelles and all that kind of like the French formal poetry of the many years ago, like the medieval courts and stuff like that. But not to belabor the point too much, but it's cool to hear how that lineage traces throughout music history. I'm going to pull this back just a little bit.
The carpet Jew is moving under you, and it's all over now, baby blue.
Does Dylan play like the melody line on the guitar in his version? I don't remember.
Leave all your stepping stones behind, there's something calls for you. Forget about the dead you left, they will not follow you. The vagabond who's rapping at your door is standing in the clothes that you once wore. Well, strike another match, go start anew, 'cause it's all over now, baby.
That helps that tagline helps the
It's all over
listener because we know what's coming. We can all sing it or shout it together, right?
'cause it's all over now, baby blue.
That's really fascinating. As compared, I don't know, there may be other versions of the song that the Dead did like later on in their career. I'm not familiar with that really. You guys help me out if that those things exist. But that little tag they played at the end, like the little solo, that was probably what 15 seconds maybe. That's the kind of place that the 1973 Dead or the 77 Dead or like would have freaked out into like an extra 5 or 10 minutes, right? So it's interesting to hear them. This is not a pop band really still, and I don't know that it ever was, but to have them more succinct, right? More brief and less kind of out, spiraling out into whatever came to their minds at that particular moment. So it's a great cover of the song though. I never thought about the Dead and Dylan being like similar-ish kind of artists, though I know they had a lot of interaction with each other. But this was a I don't know the original of this faithfully enough to know how faithful it is to the original, but I know it's pretty close, and I really enjoyed it. So I thought we'd have a little break from the longer things too. As I'm doing this Grateful Dead series, I want to have some that are like the 20, 40, 50-minute freakouts of the interpolations and stuff like that. But I also want people to hear the shorter, briefer, the almost pop song-ish versions of these things. Like, you could play that on the radio, that version of that song, and it would be perfectly fine. So, anyway, that's enough of me running my mouth. I'll see y'all next time. Take care, y'all.